Hello you guys and welcome to another video. I thought today we're gonna have another knit and chat. I am currently working on a big project that I really want to finish soon because Christmas is coming up and I have gifted that knit in October. So that's that. We can talk about that in a second, but maybe let's start talking about what I'm wearing because fitting to the knit that I have on my lap, I'm wearing my zipper sweater by Petite Knit that I casted on last Christmas. That was my Christmas cast on. It is knit in drops Nepal and drops Kid Silk Mohair. I did that on 5mm needles. The cuffs I did in the twisted rib on 4.5mm needles, as well as the collar and the ribbing on the bottom, obviously. I also installed the zipper from Petite Knit. I started that, as I said, on Christmas or 2 days before Christmas, but I knitted on that during that time. And I think I finished it in January, relatively in the beginning of the month. Yeah, lovely knit. Maybe you can see that the zipper is bulking up here a bit, but it's whatever. I don't care. Most of the time I wear that open anyway, but I wanted to show you how good it also looks when it's closed. But yeah, most of the time it's open anyway. I just wish it would have been a bit looser. It's not tight, it's fitting. It fits perfectly on the arms, and the length of the body is also great, especially because it's a layering piece. And yeah, it is very warm because of the kid silk and the drops Nepal. The yarn combination is not the softest, but usually I wear something long sleeve underneath it anyway. It's, as I said, a great layering piece. It does its job. You can zip it up all the way so your neck is warm. It's great. I love that. So there's a reason why the zipper sweater is a wardrobe staple at every knitter's house. So yeah, that's why. What a great segue. I started knitting the zipper sweater light men for my stepdad because I wanted to knit him a sweater. He really wanted one, and I was thinking about which one to make him because I make the Houndstone sweater. Sorry for butchering that name, but I made that one for my dad. And I thought, even though the sweater is nice and the sweater fits my dad, like it looks like my dad, it didn't look like my stepdad. So I was like, there aren't many men's knitting patterns out there, so I thought I'm gonna make him the zipper sweater too, because it is so versatile and such a great staple. So I am currently finishing up the body, as you can see. I recently finished the arms. I unfortunately made the ribbing on one arm a centimeter longer than the other. But maybe you can't tell, but I can tell, and I know. But it's whatever. I will fix that with blocking. Maybe one arm is longer than the other one. Who knows? I don't. But anyway, that's what I'm up to. So I have 2 centimeters of the body left, and then I have to start the ribbing. And it has taken me ages. I started the sweater in the beginning of September, end of August. But you know, there are 2 reasons why I'm struggling with sweaters for others. Usually gift knits are nice, you know. If you have someone who's knit worthy, perfect, knit them something. But for me, as long as it is something small, it's fine. I can finish it, all good. But a sweater is so big and it takes such a long time. And that's the 3rd sweater I'm gifting someone. And all 3 sweaters took such a long time because at some point I am losing motivation because it is not for me. I love a sweater myself, and then knitting something for someone else is very time consuming and not as rewarding because you don't get to wear it. But anyway, The second reason why it is taking me so long is because it is a men's sweater. And everyone who has knitted a men's sweater knows how exhausting and annoying it is. You have to knit the body longer, you have to knit the arms longer, you have to make the body wider. You know, that just takes time, and sometimes that is annoying. But it's whatever. I started that sweater because I love the sweater and I love the pattern, and I thought that is a good sweater to have. So I'm now pushing through. It's, as I said, just the body left, and then we're good. I also, maybe that's also a reason why it took so long, is because I did not finish the body first and then started the arms. No, I stopped at the body at some point and then started the arms, and usually I don't do that because arms are so rewarding and the body is so exhausting. So yeah, that was not the smartest move, but I needed to switch something up. That's where we're at. I am hoping to finish the sweater this weekend. So as I said, 2 centimeters of the body, the ribbing, and then I have to do the inlay. I'm not sure how it's really called, but like the thing for where you sew the zipper. And I have the zipper here. Controversial. I like sewing in zippers. Yeah, some people hate it. I do not. I also love sleeves. Some people hate it. So that's the goal, finishing this weekend. And then it just needs to be blocked. And then it's done. Off the needles. And then I can move on to more projects. Let's talk about this year. Let's talk about knitting this year. Because this year has been a roller coaster for me. I started in the beginning of the year, I started filming some videos because I posted a few TikToks about my key sweater, and also always when I finished a whip on Instagram, and the feedback was always so good. And I don't know, I was like, maybe I need to share what I'm doing because I'm knitting a lot and I love knitting, and I would love to talk about knitting 24/7. So I just started with a knitting podcast that is, I think, not really my thing, my style of videos, because obviously it's also just a yapping session, but I feel like I'm not as good as other people. Like, especially because you have to present the things you have been knitting on, or you're knitting on, or whatever your plans are. And for some reason, I feel like I'm more like the yapper person, you know. I'm just sitting here. I have a few notes, but nothing crazy, not a script or anything. I'm just here yapping away. And so that's why I stopped doing it after like 2 episodes. I'm not sure if I ever gonna make another one. But yeah, I also posted some vlogs in German, just because I love watching vlogs and I love making vlogs. It's so much fun to look back to. But I quickly realized that I kind of have to combine both things. So after taking a long time off because I had to go to the hospital, I did not feel like filming. Then the summer came, I was very busy. I was in a kind of summer knitting slump. I still didn't feel up to film anything. And then at some point, I think it was because we went to Scotland and I did a vlog there, that I kind of gained the motivation back. I have started a few videos in between. The last video I posted in the beginning of the year, and then the Scotland vlog, but I was not really happy with the outcome, so I did not edit it or uploaded it. But yeah, as I said, I gained a bit of motivation back through the Scotland videos, and yeah, it is rewarding to see when the work you put into videos is paying off, in the sense of people liking your videos or commenting, or even just my friends supporting me, you know. That is a good feeling. And I feel like knitting is such a big part of my life for 4 years now, almost 5 years, that it is time to like just maybe move to another platform and show people what you're doing. And even if it's just a hobby, you know, I'm not intending to be crazy successful on here, I think. But I mean, if it happens, it happens. But if not, I'm not gonna be mad, because at the end of the day, my hobby is to knit, and I enjoy making videos, and so that is a hobby in any case. Knitting also becomes more and more popular amongst Gen Z. I read a study recently about that. So it's also very cool to just like connect with other people and see younger people knit or be interested in knitting. And even if it's like not a crazy obsession that some people have, it's still nice to talk to people about knitting, especially because through COVID and Petite Knit, so many more knitting patterns and knitwear designers have established themselves and have shown themselves online and what they're capable of, or were encouraged to show themselves online. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's very nice, because knitting is such an old craft, and everybody has at least one grandma or knows one grandma who has been knitting her whole life. In the time where you can go to an H&M or Zara or wherever you want to go, and you can just buy knitwear with most of the time not nice yarn for cheap. It is not normal to see hand knitted stuff that often anymore as it used to be. So bringing back the culture, the craft, the lifestyle, the vibe, the skill, everything is just so cool and beautiful, and I'm such a sucker for that. Plus, in my opinion, it is very relaxing. My head is full with thoughts at all time. And knitting really helped me to kind of slow down and have no thoughts in my head. Like sometimes I'm just sitting on my couch knitting without anything on. Not talking to anybody, not listening to anything. No thoughts in my mind, just stitch for stitch, row for row. And that is very good. And it helps me to calm down. I do have to admit, I turned into a relatively fast knitter, and also into a knitter that knits for the finished result and not for the progress itself. Still not sure if that is healthy or not, because like sometimes I just push through because I really want to have that sweater finished and wear it. But anyway, I can't change it. It is what it is. But also knitting has taught me patience, a lot of patience, which I didn't have. But knitting really showed me that having patience is not bad. And also kind of like, I saw a TikTok on that. There was a woman in the car being like, I am not a very patient person. And people asked me how I can knit, because that's obviously a craft that takes some time and that is time consuming, and it's rewarding in a sense, but like not as quickly as, I don't know, baking a cake. But she said that I think firstly, it calms her down. Secondly, I think she also said that it is a matter of the mindset, because she now sees the time that she has left, like in her free time. She sees that time differently. She now knows, okay, I have 20 minutes to my appointment. I'm 20 minutes early. I have my knitting with me. I can just sit here and knit. And she spends her time knitting rather than being on her phone, which is healthier. I think we can all agree on that. But also she's using her time wisely. Like, she's not spending the time on her phone where she's just like doom scrolling and like looking for some fast dopamine. No, she's doing something with her hands. She might not think about anything. She's doing something rewarding in the long term. And that is kind of also the case for me with knitting. So long story short, we're all here because we love knitting. And knitting is becoming more popular, and I love that for us and for the craft. I love that craft is not dying, that we still have people knitting and enjoying knitting and not being forced to knit because they need clothes. You know, also to be a bit more aware of how clothes are made and how much work it is and how special it is to make something yourself. And also it is good for our mental health. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, we love knitting. Maybe we can talk about the things that I actually wanted to knit that I didn't do this year. So there are a few things on my list that I really wanted to knit this year, but obviously it didn't work out. There are so many patterns coming out at all times, so much influence, and that's one thing that's a bit annoying about the knitting community. There is so much going on, and sometimes I feel a bit pressured, and that's something I need to work on. But overall, it is good to have so much input, but it's also a little drawback at some point. Maybe let's start with something that I've said in one of my podcast episodes, is that I really would like to knit a colorwork sweater this year, which I obviously didn't do besides the key sweater, but is that really a colorwork sweater? I'm not sure. It's a gray zone in my opinion. I wouldn't really necessarily call it a colorwork sweater in the way that I would define a colorwork sweater. So that was on top of my list and I didn't do that. And connected to that is also a dedicated Christmas sweater. Last year I saw the Northern Augustine number 4, which I really wanted to knit, and it was still on my mind this year. And I looked into the yarn. I was like, do I really want to knit that in a cheaper yarn, or do I want to invest in a more expensive, in a better yarn? Do I want to get that yarn for Christmas from my mom? What do I want to do? In the end, I decided against it. It's not off my list, as I said, but I decided against it. There are so many projects on the needles right now. Like, I have so many whips lying around. I need to finish the big projects before I start any other sweater. So that's why I decided against it. But that's still something I really want to make, especially in that beige and red combo. I know I said that a circular yoke might not be my favorite thing to wear, but I would give it another shot because the sweater looks so nice. Another colorwork sweater that I really wanted to make, or that I really was eyeing, is the Rosie sweater by Lynette and the Harriet sweater by Lynette. Both of them have, I would say, an okay amount of color work. It's not crazy and it's not too complicated, I would say. So I have been really eyeing both of the patterns, the Harriet sweater more in the beginning of the year and the Rosie sweater more towards the end of the year when it came out. I was also thinking about the Rosie sweater. I have done the calculations with what yarn I would need and how much that would cost and everything, and I was still the same as with the Northern Augustine. Really thinking about getting the yarn for Christmas too, but I decided against it, obviously. But still, the Rosie sweater and the Harriet sweater are both on my list, and I still have an eye on them. And maybe someday I will knit one. Who knows? The sweater that I really would love to make or would have loved to make this year was the Frankie sweater by Petite Knit. I'm really into stripes lately, and especially the blue and brown caught my eye, and I really thought that the sweater would be something cool in my wardrobe. But I talked to my friends about it because we thought about knitting it together, and one of them said she only has time to knit that next year. So we decided, okay, you know what? It is actually a relatively thin sweater. It's like not something with mohair, so it is also great to knit in January, February, so you can wear it in the beginning of springtime. So that has been postponed. I think it looks very timeless, even though people are using crazy colors or very basic colors. But I think the fit itself is very timeless. And if you know your style, you also know which colors you might wear in 3 years' time. So that shouldn't be a holdback. I also have been looking into the yarn. I think she's using Pear Gynt and color combinations, because I'm usually not a person who loves wearing crazy colors, or like the pink and red Olga sweater is the most colorful thing I own in my wardrobe, in all honesty. The brown and the blue combination really spoke to me. I also saw a very basic one, just being brown and beige. But brown and beige is something that I have in my wardrobe already. I also saw a combination of pink and brown. Especially she recently released a pattern for a sweater that has that's pink with a brown stripe on the back, with a brown seam on the back. That color combination is also crazy good. So maybe it's gonna be a pink sweater, because I don't have a pink sweater yet, but that's out in the open. Let's see what I'm thinking in 2-3 months time. In the beginning of the year, I knitted the cloud blouse by Petite Knit in a mohair that I had left over. The pattern itself is great. The fit of the cloud blouse is not my favorite fit, but I think it's also because I was playing yarn chicken and that stressed me out, and so I shortened the body, which is not my favorite thing. I don't like how it sits on me. But whilst doing the cloud blouse, I have been looking at TikToks by other creators who have been making the cloud sweater. And there was one girl who was wearing the cloud sweater in a really nice navy blue. And ever since I saw that, it has been on my mind, and I really wanted to knit one this year. It is really such a nice combination, the cloud sweater and a navy blue. The cloud sweater is also something that's on my list. I just fear that the list is getting longer and longer, and at some point I don't know where to start anymore. But that's a problem for them. The cloud sweater on her website is in a very nice white beige situation. And my friend Lisa and I, we were talking about knitting a white beige sweater, because we both said that that's something that we need in our wardrobes. We don't have light sweaters. And I talked about that in one of my previous videos. I made 2 Monday sweaters this year, and I really like the pattern. And that would also look great in a white or beige. And Lisa made the Sonia sweater this year, and that would also look great in white or beige. I think she also made these patterns in white or beige. So having a white beige sweater would be great. So that's also something that I really would like to do. I don't know which pattern I would use for it. It's like something that is out in the open and just on my mind and on the list. But that was something that I really would love to have this year. Maybe I can squeeze in a lighter sweater in the beginning of next year, so I have that done already. Enough of sweaters. There's just one accessory that I really would have loved to knit this year. As you may know, I am a sucker for a small scarf situation, and I have made many small scarves this year. And there's one that I really would love to have made, and that is the Isla shawl by Piches et Bouche. And I have butchered that name. I am 100% sure, but you probably have seen that scarf, shawl, whatever. It looks so cool. It looks so cool. And sometimes you just need a project where you have to think, you know. Most of my sweaters are stockinette. So having something more special on the needles is cool, where you have to think sometimes. Not think too much, but like you get the vibe. So the Isla shawl with the different colors is it's like a pop of color you can put onto your outfit and like just use it as an accessory to make it more special. Yeah, I'm really sad that I didn't get around to it. I have been looking at the yarn ever since I found that scarf shawl. I went to Yarn Over Berlin, where they have the brand, but I just couldn't. I was like, I have so much to knit, I can't buy the yarn. I'm trying to buy less yarn that I don't need. So I didn't buy the yarn, and I really loved the light blue, white and red situation. But then I saw that they have put out a kit with pink and red yarn. And I was like, damn girl, you really need to get that scarf going. So that's also something that is that I really would love to have. Realistically speaking, I don't need a small scarf. It's gonna be a treat. At some point I have to knit that scarf, but realistically speaking, I don't need a little scarf. I don't need another one. I never said that I'm realistic. All right, you guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I think I knitted like 2 rounds, but that's just how it is. It's a men's sweater. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you got some knitting done too. Maybe you also would like to tell me which projects you didn't knit this year that you really wanted to knit. I'm always open to extend my list. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.